maybe you wanted to sleep until 11, but you know, you realize it's not too bad. 10 a.m., I can do that, and you power up and you're ready to go. So that'll be an interesting thing specifically for Luna, given the lack of LAN experience.
Yeah, and especially considering one thing I've been liking to reference all weekend has been the pro player interviews that have been uploaded on Pro Brawlhalla, where we got to see Luna and Pugsy talk about what they were thinking before they came into this, and they were extremely cocky and confident. And I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like,
I'm seeing
for
why.
good reason.
I don't even know what happened. Ajax, what happened?
Axe D-Sig, Axe Neutral Sig, excuse me, off to the side, sent them both back down. Pugsy immediately found them on their way down there. We saw the separation try to happen, but the anxiety kicked in, and they went back and held each other again, and then they got caught slipping one more time. That was 2 free stocks on the side of the red team already.
It's looking good for the red team so far. Pugsy's taking the most damage, but of course, even though playing a low defense legend like the Finn crossover on Brawlhalla, well, normally Pugsy does a very good job of surviving for an extremely long time. In this case, that's not what ended up happening, and that's going to be a full team wipe for the blue team, but look at who is also taking a lot of damage. It's Fozey. simpLe's not far behind him, both of them on their second stocks flame.
Here we go, gonna see a pass over to the Chun-Li neutral sig. Oh, went for the Taros Classic. Not gonna lead to anything though, but things are getting a little haphazard off stage. A ground pound not gonna hit Fozey in a precarious scenario.
God.
I don't know if we'll be able to make it back. Nope, he's gone. And we're gonna go ahead and collapse on the Chun-Li on the left side of the stage. Now you see Pugsy trying to get that side light. Want to get rid of that Chun-Li. The down air is not enough, but will they be able to bring it back? We do not know.
It's just insane how quick they are to, even after they drop stocks, immediately go full gas pedal. We talked about it earlier, and it's hard to ever ignore. When you get hit once by Luna and Pugsy, you take so much damage. You nearly get knocked out every time you get a team combo. And even though they're both deep in the red right now, we're going to see 1 stock fly. Actually, we're going to see 2 stocks fly. Never mind, that sounds stupid. They are still in this game.
Fozey doesn't have a lot of damage on this stock either. They're not in a terrible spot despite getting the full team wipe on the blue team earlier. Then we saw those second stocks fall on the red team. Everybody has a weapon right now, so nobody's at the weapon disadvantage. It is an axe and a hammer, so we don't have to worry necessarily about same move DI if we were talking about axe and axe coming from Luna and Pugsy.
And now I'm wondering, we see a couple of signatures coming out from Luna. Luna sometimes does like to just let it rip and see if it sticks. And this time, doesn't look like it's sticking. You want to be careful here as you're on your final stock. 1 clean hit onto Luna should be enough. Same for Pugsy, but also the same for Chun-Li here. Somehow, Rayman / Dawson has taken like no damage in like the course of the past like however long.
That's just been the strength of Fozey. He was getting kind of cooked at the start, that double KO that happened, and now they've got in the game. They lost their stocks within like 10 seconds, and they kept it together. simpLe and Fozey's defense has been non-stop impressive. Even after they lost those early stocks, even after they got revenge KO'd again right after. Last stock came through, you're talking about the signatures just being, just kind of letting them rip occasionally. You know who doesn't do that? simpLe. He always does that after Fozey lines it up, gets those Wushang signatures that always find their mark. We're not even seeing Gauntlet Decent come out at any point, by the way. That's usually something that covers everything. He's just constantly catching people slipping and rushing in, and that's pretty much how they got that first game.
We're going straight into this next game, game 2. We didn't actually get to see the graph. We can see the graph here on the computer, given that beautiful statistics tool. And one of the things specifically was pointing out how Fozey was not taking damage. Once he turned orange on final stock, there is a significant chunk of this graph on that final stock, like half of his final stock, where he took literally 0 damage while still engaging with the other team. So he did a fantastic job going from the most damaged person all of a sudden to the least damaged person.
Just like that, as we go ahead and pull up into game number 2, it's going to be Luna that's going to be the first one to fall, immediately followed by Pugsy. And it's looking like Fozey and simpLe are hitting their stride.
simpLe is, without a doubt, just non-stop impressive all day. He has made contention for, if you were to look at an all-day MVP style play, he has kept them in the game repeatedly. He gets the damage, he gets the knockouts, and he gets, he just keeps them from ever getting back on stage as we see him pressure Pugsy, finally getting caught by the dare. Pugsy trying to look and close it out, but the weapon toss up forces them to back off. Meanwhile, Luna just trying to hopefully send them off stage, but Pugsy does in fact finish the job.
Now, one of the things we talked about is this Wu Shang pick being a little bit different from like the regular Bodvar or sometimes the Terrace that we see from simpLe. This Wu Shang pick is level 34. That is low.
Yeah.
That's a very low-level legend, especially in the list of legends. It's probably like maybe his 20th highest-leveled legend. That's insane for how well he's playing this. He does get knocked out there, but we're talking about how Fozey wasn't taking a lot of damage for a big chunk of last game. Same thing goes this game. Just lost his first stock about 1 minute and 40 seconds into the game. That's huge.
Yeah, and although they have the 3 stocks to 2 apiece, that is 2 apiece that are very unhealthy right now on the side of Luna and Pugsy. However, Luna and Pugsy, look at that! Look at the positioning that Pugsy had for a while to separate the two. But Pugsy does lose that stock. They answer again as soon as he's gone. They get the play, and now Fozey's looking incredible once again with holding onto those stocks, Lambo.
Dude, I've actually been staring at Fozey for like the past 1 minute and 30 because I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I need to know, like, how is it possible that you are taking so little damage? And honestly, it's nothing fancy. It's just good fundamentals. He knows where to drift to the left and drift to the right, where to spot dodge, and he takes weapon throws as punishes more than anything else. And weapon throws don't add up to a lot over time, so it's just one of those things where he's really minimizing the amount of damage he's taking.
One thing that did add up over time, though, was that damage that they got onto simpLe. He got away from the first edge guard, but kept taking small hits along the way. And like we said before, Teros, Queen Jala, it doesn't matter. You get hit a few times, you are deep in the red, and now Fozey's he's gonna go down here. They're gonna cover pretty much every option. Tried to scoop him up, didn't get the touch. He put himself right in the right spot to force the defensive option. And even if you got past that, Pugsy's staring at you right on top of that platform.
Put himself in the right spot and put his opponent in the dirt. Luna doing the most damage last game, 600. Pugsy, man, Pugsy's not been doing a lot of damage today, and that's not normal for Pugsy. Still taking the most damage overall in the entire game, which on a low defense legend, while still being alive at the end of the game, that's huge. But we're used to seeing Pugsy, do a little bit more damage.
I just remembered something earlier we mentioned before, too. When you know Pugsy is cooking is when you see a bunch of sword N6 go off. When he starts catching where your jumps are going, when he's getting lined up, you can see he is regularly feeling confident about calling you out. We haven't really seen any of that. We haven't really seen Pugsy get that damage the way we're used to seeing him, and they're still keeping themselves in the game, but you're going to need to pick that up soon, the way that Fozey's been able to dodge a lot, and the way that simpLe, even though he went down the most before, hasn't been able to net these KOs, Lambo.
And I feel like it's one of those things where it's a mix of, well, Luna's kind of popping off, so why am I going to, like, force myself to, like, try to be the extra aggressor, you know what I mean? Like, if I play accurate, moderate support for Luna, that's all the team comp's asking for right now. If I feel like Luna can't keep up, then yeah, maybe I'll step up a little bit. We'll share that work a little bit more evenly. But currently, I think they're playing the roles extremely well, and I see no reason for them to change the game plan.
You're exactly right, because if we talk about adding up the damage, it's 993, which 1k damage, super normal, super good amount of damage to do in 2v2 for the entire team. And we talk about support players, Pugsy was like the original player that we talked about taking that quote-unquote support role. There are no roles in Brawlhalla, but Pugsy was like the first person where we started talking about that like actual role that a player can take in supporting their teammate, finding the follow-ups, not necessarily always doing these massive combos, but like we just saw, that signature follow-up not only did damage, but also led to a KO.
That's 2 stocks going in that way, too. The last one was the side air follow-up that he had, and then already positioned right there to follow up on the recovery. Unfortunately, Luna got sent away, but they've been able to just constantly land their hits. But that weapon toss is going to get the blue team slightly back in the game, but simpLe is deep in the red. simpLe's been getting comboed for free repeatedly, which is completely different than what we talked about earlier, where simpLe was refusing to get hit, Sparky.
Whoa, double KO, beautiful follow-up from Luna there, taking both players off the top, and all of a sudden, we are now in the 2v1, simpLe at a massive disadvantage because he's staring down 2 stocks of Luna, 1 stock of Pugsy, and very healthy opponents.
Oh man, this is one of those situations too where like Spear, you know, if you go into 2v1 and Spear is really not too scary on stage. And oh man, the smoke is been delivered, as they can say. Sheesh. But I mean, what kind of could you expect? Like, if Chun-Li had the gauntlets, then I'm like, oh, maybe it's a little bit scarier if you go off stage because there's a potential for this to be turned around for you to lose your stock. But Spear takes way too long when you're at white health to secure KO. You got to pogo, then weapon throw, then pogo, then pogo, then pogo. And, like, that takes so much effort that they were perfectly fine just going off stage and saying, yeah, we'll fight you here because I don't really feel like I'm at a risk of dying.
And I'm glad you talk about pogo. Think about the other moves in the Spear kit and just the regular normal neutral stuff. Sidelight, long time stuck in an active frame. D-Light, long time stuck in there. Neutral light, you're even kind of stuck there when there's another player on the field that you might not be hitting. So going for that pogo, that's the quick option. That's the safe option. And going a whole stock of down airs, that's brutal.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to do that.
And there's already been multiple times today where even without a 2v1, just while somebody's stock was lost earlier today, you get hit once by Luna and Pugsy, and you have no help. Goodbye. We've seen multiple 0 to knockouts happen all day, and in that spot, there's not much you can do. But here on game number 4, Sparky, Luna and Pugsy definitely putting up that fight that we were expecting to see them. You were calling what would be possibly a 3-1. Do you see any world where simpLe and Fozey start to rekindle that fire? They do have a small lead here, but it's only that no stocks have gone yet.
In the time that it took you to ask that question, it's basically been evened up. Pugsy is going to fall first here, so I think there's definitely a world. I don't know if it happens to be this version of the universe that we're in. I think there is a multiverse of madness out there where there might be, but I don't think it's this one.
And I mean, taking a look at where we are right now, like, okay, we're going to see the first stock fall of simpLe. Sure. Fine. Fozey still hanging on a little bit. Grabbing that ledge, because that's where you want to be when you're high on damage and you have those gauntlets in hand. Like, okay, I think this is the spot where I want to pitch my tent. But also, you don't want to stay there too long because look at all the damage that's already starting to amass on a simpLe, right? You want to get in there. Maybe even, we've seen it before in 2v2s where you lose your stock on purpose, right? Just so you can get in there and help your partner more. You need to be careful in weighing your decision.
Yeah, Fozey going down there trying to take care of Luna for going for that deep edge guard. He got a little bit of damage in the mix of that, but simpLe here back on the Spear. You talk about those long startups, getting committing to the options. He's gonna go for the sidelight, but in the midst of all of that, Fozey is going to actually find that edge guard off on Pugsy on the left side of the stage, and they're carrying Luna over there too, which lets them continue the damage.
Now I'm looking forward to seeing the numbers at the end of this game in terms of damage, because I don't know if it's just a sort of a big change, only because there's a Val on the field now coming out from Fozey instead of that Dalsum Rayman. So I don't know if that was what they needed. I don't know if it's Red Team playing a little bit worse. And I think it almost feels like Red Team playing a little bit worse.
I kind of feel the same way. Like, I'm looking at Red Team and there's only one member on the screen right now. As the other one is respawning, but this looks like the blue team's game to take. There's so much damage racked up on Pugsy. Now, granted, as Ajax was saying earlier, like, yeah, we've seen them get 0 to death combos pretty efficiently, but I don't know if it's gonna be one of those games.
Well, actually, this can lead to a big play here for the Red Team if they can get rid of simpLe. They weren't able to take out simpLe, but both of the blue team were off stage looking for an edge guard, and they get rid of simpLe. Pugsy did not lose his stock in the middle of all of that.
Pugsy is super red right now, but we've seen Pugsy in this exact situation in the past, and the other team can struggle to KO. It's going to be Pugsy basically being the target, and Luna is the one in the background saying, oh, you want to get to my guy? You're going to go through me first! Oh, almost took him off the top. That was so close. Fozey really starting to take a lot of damage. Val is a reasonably tanky legend. That D-Sig is almost going to get Fozey into the perfect KO range that Luna might be looking for with a side air based on where they are on the stage. But Fozey's like taken out of the game. simpLe somehow is stepping up. Did incredible work to split up the red team.
Yeah, Pugsy's defense has been like incredible to not get hit in the middle of all that. He was kind of baiting them approach, and then all that damage you were talking about with Luna. But Luna takes an exit out of the building. If he can get a hold of Fozey, there is still a chance for them to take it. But Recovery instead will push this to a game 5.
Okay, that was actually starting to look a little bit scary toward the end of that game. I was talking about how I don't know if this is going to be the one. And Luna and Pugsy, sure as heck, were able to slowly creep their way back into that one. They weren't able to get the final blows to kind of make it a 2v1, which definitely would have made things a whole lot easier for them to try and bring things back. But this is a set that I didn't think it was going to go to Game 5. I know we were talking in the beginning about our speculations about, like, oh, okay, this is one of those sets that, you know, I was kind of still on the, like, maybe a 3-1. That's what I was thinking for Luna and Pugsy. But as I'm watching, I'm like, this could be a 3-2 simple Fozey. Like, this is anyone's game.
My Game 5 hypothesis was that this game would be like a complete destruction, a huge stomp for Luna and Pugsy. But even so, most of my money would have been bet on the 3-1. So we'll see what happens this game, but a lot of the victory on last game, again, goes to the way simpLe is playing, doing the most damage in the entire game at 634, taking the least damage. How is he able to do this so consistently? This isn't something that we regularly see. If we see a player who can survive a long time, it's because their positioning is really good. They just take a lot of damage and don't seem to get knocked out. But simpLe is able to avoid so much while doing so much. It seems counterintuitive.
It's simply put, EU's final hope. They are the last ones left, and he is doing everything he can to keep himself in the game. The hat fell off of Fozey's head, by the way. They are fully invested in what's happening. 2 stocks will fly on the side of Luna. However, Luna's stock as well will go away. He took out his teammates. Fozey cleans it up. Fozey gets them to a very, very small lead.
Oh man, this is the moment where you hop into the Twitch chat and you start reading it, and all the EU goons are in there, and they're like, EU, the sirens, do you hear them, right? Like, they are trying to give their energy to simpLe and Fozey right now, and so far it's been working out as Fozey still is hanging on with the stock, Sparky. I don't get it, but if there was a game for him to hold on, this was the game.
I'm looking at the top right of the screen right now, and I'm seeing Pugsy, very red, Fozey, very red, but there's a big difference between those two, and it's exactly like you said. Fozey on that first stock, Pugsy on that second stock. Now on that final stock is Pugsy, the person who's used to surviving. Is he going to be bullied out of this game? Is that the game plan for the blue team? It seems like they've kind of done that consistently now of taking Pugsy out early.
Well, we finally see the stock go down on Fozey. They need to get rid of simpLe now. The Cider is not going to be enough. Here comes Fozey to body block and get in the way, and there's going to be a stock loss on the side of Luna. We're looking at what could be seed number 1. Seed number 2 going down here in 5th place, but there goes simpLe. If they could get a big play soon, if Fozey lets them in the first place, they could get back in the game, but it's looking very rough right now.
Yeah, you got to get that 2v1 on simpLe right now, because if you get rid of Fozey, like, yeah, that's nice, that's a step in the right direction, but it's a much steeper hill to climb, right? Like, okay, and then we got to go through the 2v2 still. You need that the 2v1 as soon as possible, and the side stick is going to go ahead and put Pugsy to sleep, and now Luna has to do the Lord's work, and I don't know what his religion is. Who do you pray to here to make this comeback?
If I'm Luna, I'm praying to everybody. I'm praying anybody that'll listen right now. I'm looking for it because he's gonna need it, man. 3 stocks for Fozey and simpLe. We talked about destruction possibly going the other way, but it's looking like Fozey and simpLe have this one in the bag. They just gotta play carefully.
That's it.
That's gonna be it right there. And they're gonna see simpLe and Fozey knock out Luna and Pugsy at 5th place. The EU dream is not dead yet. They just took out one of the top seeds, one of the predicteds, one of the ones we all believed that would win the whole thing. You were talking about the confidence that he had. He had no fear. He should have been paying attention over to EU as they get their first ticket into elimination semifinals.
Dude, I'm so mad at EU. all of the EU fans at home that have been on Twitter saying like, bro, imagine if Godly was there, bro.
Imagine if Acno was there.
Imagine if Acno was there. They saw.
But actually, though, still.
Yeah, like,
actually,
true.
If they were here, what would today even be like?
But